leader is born or made. Now, the way we will proceed with this discussion is this. My name is Bernard. I'll start with the introduction, and I should be able, at the end of it, to outline the basic premise of our argument. Liz will come in and outline the theoretical framework of our argument. Then at the end of that, Isaac will conclude. Now, I take it that, or let me suggest, that questions and comments on the discussion will be made after the presentation of the panel. To start our discussion, we think that if we do not restrict the discussion to a certain particular framework, we'll run the risk of going in all sorts of directions. Now, because of that, we'll have to define our framework. And we will start by defining the basic concepts in the topic of leadership, or our topic, which is this one. A leader is born, not made. Now, according to our definition of the main concepts in this topic, on leadership, or the term leader, we define leader as somebody who is able to influence the actions and attitudes of others to achieve desired objectives. And these objectives could be social, political, or economic. Now, going on to the next concept in the topic, and this is the term being made, or being born rather. What do you mean by being born? According to our conception of the term, being born is a natural process through which one acquires personality traits through birth, and that is the process of nature. And moving on to the other concept in the topic, and that is being made, we define it as the acquisition and the development of personal dispositions through socialization, education, and training. Now, why have we made this definition of framework? We want to make this definition of framework for one purpose only, to make sure that we know exactly what we mean by being born and being made. Because it can be argued that one could become a child of society. A child of society in the sense that he's been groomed and he has grown through that process of socialization. But we want to make this distinction that when we mean born, we are looking at the natural process, the traits that one gets through birth. And being made, we are looking at the social process through which one gets certain personal dispositions. Now, moving ahead of this subject, and perhaps this is the essence of the subject. In what circumstances are we looking for when we're talking about leadership? We, in our discussion, we are looking at a leader in the generic sense, be it in formal institutions like the state, religious institutions, or even in informal institutions like peer groups. Now, when we look at these circumstances of leaders, what is it that we get from there? In the sense of whether somebody is being born or being made. One should be able to look at the qualities, the qualities of leaders in all these circumstances. It so happens that social psychologists, in their debate on this subject over the years, have come up with a list of what you consider to be characteristics of a leader. Now, this started even in the 30s when the discussion on this topic was really heated. And since then, over the years, various social psychologists have come up with varying definitions or lists of qualities of a leader. Now, the purpose of outlining this would be to see whether these qualities are acquired at birth or they are nurtured through socialization in society. Now, what are these qualities of a leader? These qualities of a leader are actually numerous. The list is long, actually. It starts, well, the early sociologists concentrated on things like intelligence, good judgment, insight, imagination, sense of responsibility, sense of humor. And over the years, the list has even gone on to include things like endurance, vitality, physical strength, voice, oratory power, and so on and so forth. In fact, the list is endless. And some of the items on the list actually talk about the same thing. In fact, in recent years, social psychologists like Bogon, Boydell, and Pedler, in their book on titled The Manager's Guide to Self-Development, have come with more or less the same list, but perhaps with a different orientation. To them, qualities of a leader, and in their case, they were looking at a leader in the situation of an organization as a manager. You and me in our own organization. That's what they were looking at. Now, to them, qualities of a leader or a leader are command of basic facts, which I think could be related to the question of knowledge, relevant professional knowledge, continuing sensitivity to events, social skills and abilities, creativity, mental agility, and so on and so forth. Now, what do we get from this list of qualities of leaders? What are the qualities that would characterize as the natural qualities that one would get through socialization? Well, one can come up with whatever list they may think of. But certainly, perhaps there wouldn't be much argument on some of these characteristics which have been listed. These are intelligence, things like intelligence, physical strength, voice, oratory power. You would agree with me that these qualities, largely they are acquired through the natural process. And it is only in society that, to a certain extent, they are reinforced. They are reinforced through education, socialization, and training. How about the other concept of socialization? Which are the dispositions or personal dispositions that you would think are acquired through socialization? Well, one could also come up with an endless list of those characteristics. And I have come up with my own list. This list includes good judgment, insight, imagination, responsibility, endurance, persuasiveness, and of course you can come up with however long the list may be of qualities of leadership which could be acquired through socialization or in society. Now, what we see from this is that these leadership qualities are basically reinforced through socialization and the training. So, in conclusion then, of our introduction, what we are saying is that qualities of a leader, as they have been listed by various social psychologists, are partly acquired through birth, but largely they can be reinforced. The ones that have been acquired through birth, they can be reinforced in society. But also, the larger list of qualities of leaders is associated with socialization. Those are the qualities that are obtained through socialization, education, and training. Now, to reinforce our thesis further, I call upon Liz to lay down the theoretical framework of our thesis. Please.
Thank you, Bernard. I think Bernard has laid the framework for our discussion here. There are aspects which we know that you can't do much about it. I mean, my height, I can't really change it. But can I stop being a leader just because I'm not that tall? We don't know. I'll lay these theories across there, and then we'll discuss them. And as we go through, you'll see why we are saying that, to a large extent, traits can be acquired, but they need to be reinforced in society through socialization. Theories have been laid down by social psychologists concerning this leadership. The first one which we refer to is the trait theory. This is actually based on the great man theory. This says that a man is born great and he emerges as a leader despite whatever the fact is. It depends on who he was born from. But actually, discussing this theory a little bit further, you see that there are a few flaws in it and a few weaknesses in it. Okay, I suppose maybe if you are born tall and maybe you've got a very strong voice, it might maybe make you a better leader, or maybe give you an advantage. But still, you need to have these qualities and maybe acquire some of them to be able to be a leader. I think all of us tend to agree with this because we are all here to pursue an MBA program. And I'm hoping, all of us are hoping to be future leaders, not because we are, just there, but I think we're also hoping to be leaders in our own organizations, and we're hoping to acquire some of these skills by training. And I think this, just there, but I think we're also hoping to be leaders in our own organizations, and we're hoping to acquire some of these skills by training. And I think this is the basis of some of the management training programs in organizations and management development programs, because all this, I think, is based on the fact that some traits can be reinforced and some traits can actually be built on. And I think another example is the way we've been practicing to try and do this. I think it's all another practice again. We are not all born orators, but we are all trying to learn to be orators. And I think by the end, because of the practice, because of the training which we got, I think we ended up presenting in a slightly better way, I would think. So looking at these weaknesses there, I think Bernard put up a lot of lists there. Some of them were talking about intelligence, a lot of things. So you can see that there was a difference in the sort of things which people came up with. And you can actually see that there's no ranking in terms of that. Is intelligence the most important thing in a leader? Is the situation or whatever, what is important? There were different things there. And if you look at them, take a different in terms of that. Is intelligence the most important thing in a leader? Is the situation or whatever, what is important? There were different things there. And if you look at them, take different leaders, for example, they all have different traits. Take somebody, I think Margaret Thatcher, she's one known leader to all of us. She had her own traits, and she was a leader. Take John Major, for example. He's another leader with different, maybe, traits. Take Rajiv Gandhi, who is known to all of us here. I think a lot of us wouldn't have thought that Rajiv could come up as a leader, but he had his own traits which made him a leader. So this is why we think, although traits can be important in terms of actually making one a leader, I think also there's room for improvement. And this is why I'm saying, is there really room for improving traits? I think we'll answer that as we go on. Looking at this world which we are in, you see that situations change, environment changes. This is why we're all trying to learn maybe things like strategy so that we can adapt to the situation. This brings us on to the next theory which can be discussed, where a leader comes out of whatever the situation is. In some situations, some people just come up as leaders. I think maybe people who are in the army will actually tell the captain will support me on this issue. When maybe in a platoon you see one person, because of the certain situation which is there, comes out as a leader because of the circumstances which are there, which are surrounding them. Not that he's a natural leader there, but he just emerges as a leader because of the circumstances. Not because of the traits which are in him, but maybe because the circumstances actually demand that he comes out as a leader there. And out of this situational approach, it has been said that the technical expertise is an important aspect, where if somebody has got maybe a qualification in accounts, and you come to a meeting, in a budgetary meeting, you find that although there's a chief executive there, but the accountant takes the leadership role, and it changes. It doesn't mean that the chief executive is not a leader there. He is the leader, but for this particular time, you find that the accountant is taking a precedence and is taking the role of a leader because he actually has the training in accounting, which is required in that particular situation, which actually comes on further to prove that these natural inclinations, although they are there, but I think you still need to reinforce them. And you can come, I think there are universities which have got different disciplines, accounting, engineering, all sorts of things. And you see people actually going on this to acquire this technical expertise or knowledge so that they can actually maybe become leaders in their own areas. And I think we see this a lot more in organizations or in situations which we are confronted with, where because of one's professional knowledge or technical expertise, they take a role of a leader, depending on the situation which is there. And this will actually prove further that in society, a lot of leadership qualities have to actually be reinforced. Otherwise, to just depend on my height, maybe it's not enough in this changing world. I need to adapt to the situation and maybe the demands which are made on me to be an effective leader. Another theory on leadership is the functional. This one again is putting importance on the task which is at hand in groups or in teams. And also, it's really based on the ability of a leader to be able to meet the needs of this group, and it's the right function at the right time. You see? So again, we see here that it's not only that, you are born as a leader, but I think to a greater extent, you need to acquire skills to be able to judge a situation, to be able to be in a position to become a leader in that particular group. And maybe the roles will change, because if you're in a particular group, I think even in our class we've seen that sometimes some people emerge as leaders in some subjects, but and others take a back role, so to speak. But in others, you find the same people actually coming up. And some people, when it's group work, you find that, I think Nick is a very good example. If it's group work, you see Nick really animated and he takes the leadership role. But maybe if we're in an accounting situation, I'm not too sure whether maybe Nick will take such a role. You see? So this is what we're saying. But I think we're all here. We've tried to acquire this, maybe to reinforce and to build on. Trades maybe can be the foundation. But I think training needs to build onto the building to make sure that you come up as a leader. Now, to summarize all these theories which we've put across to you, I'll call upon Isaac, who is going to summarize and maybe conclude our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth and Bernard. They have given me a ground to summarize the subject of leadership and to give you our conclusion. We have seen, contrary to the views of the area social psychologists, that leadership is not only a matter of natural personal traits, and even charisma, which is generally believed to be natural, has got to be supported by a situation, as Max Weber puts it in his landed charisma theory. We further see that the later approaches to the subject have clearly outlined the need to reinforce and develop these qualities. Even Vidra in the contingence theory also emphasizes the notion of influence, say, influence of the task, influence of the structure, and relationship in the group, which implies that a leader has got to be groomed and trained in accordance to the requirements of the situation. Liz has elaborated on the environment, the dynamic situation we are in. Factors like technology, competition, and politics is playing a big role in order for leaders to be educated. In conclusion, therefore, we say that to a greater extent, a leader is made than born. Thank you very much. Now the discussion is open to the class.
What do you think about our thesis on the subject?
It was very good presentation.
Very precise.
And very lucid. I would only like to raise a question. I personally subscribe to the view that leader is more made than born. But in modern day democracies, especially in developing countries, one sees any number of examples, sons inheriting the legacy of father. Any number of examples. And these examples, especially in our country, are proliferating. They are following the footsteps of the fathers or grandfathers. How do you reconcile this trait with the thesis that I say I am also willing to subscribe?
Yeah. I think if I get you right, you are talking about people who are born in maybe royal families or things like
No,
that.
they are not born in
Or
royal
maybe
families.
something similar to that.
They
Should be.
are simply rich or politically powerful.
Yes, but I would still think that if somebody is born in like that, where they are traits, you still find that they still have to go through grooming, where those aspects which are in them still have to be developed further for them to be able to, at the end of it, acquire this leadership or to take up their position as leadership. I think maybe I would sort of liken it to this situation in Britain here, which is a little bit more maybe familiar to all of us, where the queen is there, and just because you are born into that family, like Charles, I think he's supposed to automatically take over because he's born of the royal family. And you still find that he's still expected to behave in a certain manner. He's still being groomed, I think, in the way he talks, in the way he carries himself, in the way he handles all these things. So we still feel that although a lot of political power is there as well, but I think although you can actually acquire these traits because of the natural birth, but I think you still need to sort of nurture them. You still need to develop these leadership qualities for you to be able to be an effective leader.
Actually, Charles' example is not a representative example because this is a highly exceptional type of case. But what I'm talking about is hundreds and thousands of examples that I think are operating in our country. And as I said, that they are proliferating instead of reducing, where simply by virtue of father's position, a person can hope to acquire a certain amount of position of power in the society. And he or she, rather he or mostly, she in some cases, they are not very much groomed to acquire power. Maybe subsequently after the exercise of power, they acquire those traits. Initially, it is not so visible.
And I would just like to add a point to that, what you're saying, is that especially so in the developing countries, you see this trend.
I think the argument that you made actually supports what we're saying. The point being this, that leaders emerge out of situations. And the situation here is the fact that these individuals that we are talking about have got the support of their families, whether by corruption or otherwise. They have got that background, that family background, and that is the situation in which they have gone. It's not necessarily the fact that they have got natural traits. It is the fact that they are born in a particular family, whether rightly or wrongly. And it is that fact which has made them leaders.
No, if you accept this, I am not entering the argument, I withdraw myself after this last statement. If we accept this situational aspect as the predominant argument, that if they are born into the family, then they become leader, that means we are subscribing to the other view, that the leader is born and not made.
No, actually that's why we put that description of the definition. The definition there was actually underlining the fact that being born, we're referring to the natural acquisition of natural characteristics, inherent genetic characteristics of an individual. Now, against the background of the great man's theory, we are saying it's not necessarily the natural characteristic. It is the way through which one is being grown up, which makes him a leader or the situation.
Well, should I take it that amongst you all, since the situation so arose, that the natural leader in list started first?
In fact, relating to this, you remember the criticism of man's criticism on the weaknesses of the traits theory. He said a leader, the characteristics of a leader, actually develop when he is in that position of leadership. It's only then that he becomes a leader, because one, he perceives himself as such, and he goes to the extent of accepting his role as a leader. Not necessarily because he's got certain natural preferences. Any other comment?
Could I say thank you very much? I think we're drawing to a close there anyway, but we need to keep things moving a little. Could I say...
Sir Todd and friends, the topic of discussion is managers should and can overcome conflict in workplace. I need not to emphasize that this is a very critical topic these days, because conflict is such an inherent thing that everywhere you go, you will find conflict in one form or another. But before I come to the topic, let me first introduce to you our team members, myself, Rabari, M.A.Ibrahimi. For sake of convenience, we have divided our discussion into 3 parts. First is nature of conflict, facets of conflict, benefits of conflict, harms of conflict. Thereafter, this portion is being dealt with by me, and thereafter Mr. Darbari will be taking over. He is discussing the should aspect of the question. This I need not elaborate, is a very important thing, because on it depends whether problems are to be overcome, eliminated, or they are to be managed. This is one of the very crucial questions here. And thereafter, we will discuss the methodology to resolve conflicts. And then the third aspect, which is being dealt with by Mr. Ibrahimi, that is the can aspect of this question. Can is related to the resourcefulness of the manager, because even though we can feel that we should manage conflicts or we should eliminate conflicts, it does not mean that we are resourceful enough to actually deal with them in the manner that we like. Therefore, this is a very important segment of the question. And allied to this is the question of constraints. Because as I said, that it depends on the resourcefulness of the manager as to how he deals with the problems. The question of constraints naturally comes in. So second aspect will be constraints and resolution of conflicts. And third and final will be summing up. And before I take up my part, shall I start with an honest confession that since I'm not very good at drawing, so my slides will not be that good, as they can be of some of my friends, like Nick, who is laughing at the back, or my friend M.A.Ibrahimi, who has made very beautiful slides. So please bear with me. Now, to come to the topic proper, nature of conflict. As I said, conflicts are inherent in any organization. In any group of persons who are interacting with each other in a given atmosphere, given framework, we will find that they are all the time having some difference of opinions, difference of perceptions, or they are quarreling with respect to allocation of resources, or it can be priorities, it can be clash of personalities. Therefore, conflicts of some form are either latent or very perceptible in all organizations. But does that mean that problems, conflicts are inherently bad? Are they per se bad, or they are good, or they are a mixture of good or bad elements? In order to examine this question, which is our question, whether they should and can overcome conflicts, we need to discuss the nature of conflict as to whether they are good or bad. Now, in this respect, you will find that there are 3 schools of thought about the nature of conflict. One is happy family or unitary view. This view, which is held by thinkers like Peter Drucker, etc., it believes that organizations are a very happy integrated family